Hello, I am Miss Alana from the Universal branch of the Boys and Girls Club, and for today's YAI Fine Art activity, we are going to learn how to make some embossed style Christmas ornaments. So the style that we are going to learn how to do is this Christmas tree one with some lights on it, also with a Merry Christmas in the background. And then we are going to talk about today's materials and we will get started with the activity. So before we get started with the activity, we are going to learn what embossing is. So embossing is a technique that raises a three-dimensional image, typically on paper. So today we are actually using cardboard and aluminum foil with a type of yarn or twine to create that 3D image instead of paper. And also we are learning the term relief. So a relief is a 3D effect on a flat surface. So we are creating both a 3D effect on a flat surface, our relief, and learning the term embossing. Alright, so the materials we need is a piece of cardboard. This is just some scrap cardboard I found in my house. It's pretty thin, so it's easy to cut through. You want it to be about whatever size you're going to use for your ornament. Mine's going to be like this big, so I'll need a part of this. You also need some aluminum foil. You want it to be about twice the size of whatever shape you are going to draw for your ornament. You need some scissors to be able to cut everything out. If you have a hole punch, you might want to use that as well. You're going to need some glue. Any kind of craft glue or school glue would work for this. And then some type of twine or yarn or ribbon to make our 3D effect and also to make the tie on the ornament. And then finally, you're going to want to use some Sharpies. So any type of permanent marker will work best for this. You don't want to use washable markers on this because it will take a very long time to dry. So get all of your materials together and then we are going to get started on our YAI activity. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our scrap piece of cardboard and we are going to draw the shape that we want for our ornament on it. So I'm going to do a very classic like circle shape. So I'm going to draw that on here. I'm drawing it with my marker first so it's easier for me to see and easier for when I cut it out. If you are trying to do a circle, you can trace something in your house if you want to get that perfect circle, but you can also do other shapes like hearts or diamonds or squares. And once you have that done, you want to take your scissors and then we are going to cut out the shape that we just drew. So I'm just going to cut this out and then do my very best to keep it that circle shape that I am trying to achieve with it. So now we are going to poke the hole in our ornament. So if you have a hole punch, you can just hole punch it ahead of time and do it that way. If you do not have one, what you can do is either take a sharp object, you can take a pencil or pen and stab a hole through the cardboard. You can also take your scissors and do it this way. If you are going to do it this way, have a adult help you with it because you might end up stabbing yourself and that is not good. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the tip of it and kind of pushing through, and that's it. You just want to make sure that the hole that you have is about the same size of the yarn or the twine that you're using for this project. So now what we want to do is think up of our design that we want to do on this. Depending on what shape you did and how big you did it is going to determine what type of design you really want to do on the inside. Since mine is a circle, I can really do anything. But since we have Christmas coming up, I am going to pick a Christmas theme for this. So I am going to do a really simple tree. So I'm going to use my Sharpie and I'm going to draw out the shape of my tree. I'm just doing it as a triangle and then a little square.
And then now we are done with our tree drawing for our ornament. Nice!
And now we are going to grab our yarn or twine, whatever we are using for this, and our scissors as well. And we're going to put our yarn or twine for the same length of the lines that we drew. And then we are going to cut pieces of it off. You might want to keep it near the line that you're doing it for so then you don't lose track of which one is supposed to go where. I'm just holding it up to it and then I keep the spot where it's supposed to be.
So now you're just going to cut out each length of the ribbon or twine, whatever you're using, for each line that you drew. If you start to do some smaller lines, it is going to be a little bit harder to do it, but it's okay. You can always trim some extra stuff off at the end. Just make sure you don't lose all the little pieces of yarn or twine that you're using for your project while you're working on this.
So I have my glue here with me. Any type of craft or school glue will work for this. And I'm just going to move my pieces out of the way, but remember which goes where. And then I'm going to follow the lines that we drew with my glue. And you don't need to put a lot, it's just enough to keep it in place. And then I'm going to go back and put my pieces of twine down.
So one by one, I'm going around. I'm putting my pieces of twine on the glue lines that I established before. I'm doing all my little ones down here. You can see I did cut them a little bit longer than they were supposed to be, but that's totally fine. I'm just going to add some more glue and then kind of adjust it. And then making sure everything is in place, I'm just going to press down on it for a couple seconds and then we are done with the gluing part.
So for our next part, we are going to grab that piece of tin foil that we set aside beforehand. And you don't want it to be too big. It's going to be big enough to wrap it around. And then we are going to take our glue out again, and we are going to add some glue onto our cardboard disc. So same thing as before, we don't want it to be swimming in glue. It's just enough that it is going to hold it down in place.
So next what we're going to do is glue our disc onto our tinfoil. There's a shiny side just like this and a dull side. And so what we want to do is to put it face down on the side that is more dull than the other. So this is my dull side.
The dull side down, I'm going to take this and press it down. Keep my piece in place. And then add some glue to this side. Same as before, you don't want to add too much.
And now I'm going to fold over the tinfoil over that whole area. So I'm pressing down, making sure it's actually covering a little bit further past the circle of my cardboard ornament right there. And then I'm going to add another thin layer of glue on this side. And then I'm going to fold over the other edge of my tinfoil. Depending on what shape that you did, you might have to do yours a little bit differently. Just make sure that you have enough foil on it to cover both sides. So now I have that part done. I am going to flip over and we can see where our outline is a little bit, right?
So now we are going to use our fingers and press down to make our design appear.
So now I'm just using my nails, I'm kind of pressing it in. You can also use the bottom of a paintbrush and kind of outline those lines that we did with the yarn underneath. Just do your best to kind of make it stand out. You don't want to press too hard because it might tear the tin foil, but just try to make that design pop out right now. So now that I have that done, I am going to cut off the edges. You don't want to cut it completely off, kind of like a centimeter off from the side, so we have some extra space to fold it over. So I'm just going to outline that with my Sharpie so I know where to cut. And then I am grabbing my scissors and then cutting off all of that extra area. And now I am just going to take some glue and I'm going to put a little bit on that folded over area that I did not cut off beforehand. And same thing as before, you just need a little bit of the glue, you don't need all that much. And then I'm going to start to fold it over on the edges. So I'm just going to do like a little bit at a time, fold over all of the edges to make it nice and flat and not have any of the cut tinfoil exposed. It's just going to make it kind of smoother on the sides and look a little bit cleaner from the front too. And now I'm just going to take it and kind of press it into my table, kind of smooth those edges out even more, just a little bit on all the sides, just to make it really nice and smooth. And then once I am done with that, we are finished with this part of the project. Yay!
So now I'm going to go in and poke that hole we did at the beginning. You can either use your scissors again, or I have a pen here. If I press down, I can see where that hole is. I'm just going to go right through it yet again. And now we have our hole. So at this point, I am going to grab my twine again, and I'm going to make a loop for our ornament to hang off of. If you have some nice ribbon or some yarn, you want to use maybe a different color, you can use that. Or you can just use the same thing that you used in the first place. So I'm going to do one knot going around it. And then I'm going to do another knot on top of that. Pull it pretty tight. And there I have my hanging part. So I am going to grab all of my Sharpies now. First thing I am going to do is I'm going to outline my drawing.
So I'm going to take my Sharpie and then I'm going to outline the yarn lines that are underneath with this black Sharpie.
That. And I'm going to fill it in with some other Christmassy colors.
And now I'm just going to color in the inside of my tree with the green Sharpie. You want to make sure that you're using Sharpies and not washable markers, because if you use the washable ones, it will not dry on top of the tin foil.
And now I am going to decorate around it. I'm going to add some Christmas lights. So I'm just doing like a line going around each part.
And now grabbing my other permanent markers, I'm going to do some different colors all around the line I just drew. They're just kind of circular oval shapes, just kind of some dots all around it, picking some different colors, some reds and greens for Christmas. And then I am done with that part.
And then if you are satisfied with your drawing, you are done for that part. Don't forget you also have a backing on it, so you could put somebody's name on it. You can write Merry Christmas on it. I wrote Merry Christmas on the back of mine, and then I have this fun front, and then we are done with today's YAI project. So let's check out how our finished object turned out. We have the really cool 3D effect, the relief raised effect going on with the yarn that we put underneath. We outlined it with our Sharpies, add a little bit of extra decoration around it, and then a nice Christmas, Merry Christmas message in the background. As I said before, you can do different shapes, you can do different patterns and styles. This is kind of like an easy abstract one. Also says Merry Christmas on the back. You could do a different drawing if you wanted. You could also do a different shape. This one is a rectangle with a heart on it. You can write somebody's name on the back, so this one's to mom. It could be used as either an ornament or even a gift tag for a present for somebody. Either way, I hope you enjoyed doing this. I hope you had fun and you learned how to do a new technique with me. And I will see you next time for our next activity. Bye!
Welcome, boys and girls. This is Pia from West Sanford, and today we're going to be painting our 4 seasons. We're going to start with spring, summer, fall, and winter. And as you can see, we have 4 equal spaces. And how to get that, we will take the measurement of this width, divide that in half of that measurement. So this is a 14 width, so half of it will be 7, and then divide that 7 in half, and half is 3.5. So that's how you do it. So if you have a big canvas or a little canvas, this will work out because it doesn't matter. The instructions will still be the same. I would say not to do it on paper, cardboard paper, cardstock paper, because the masking tape that we're going to use will tear into your paper, so stay away from that. For this project, not only will we need some kind of canvas that you want to use, big or small. For paint, we will start with our yellow and orange. Then we're going to need our yellow and green. We're going to need white and blue, and purple and white. And of course, we're going to need black for our tree. For brushes, we're going to need 2 of them. One will be your larger bristle brush, soft, not the harsh one, soft, and a smaller one. Now mine has curvy ends, which is really good for swiveling and making curves, but if you don't have one, a flat one will work just as well, as long as it's a medium size. And you will need masking tape and a pencil, and I can't find my ruler. My ruler, all the way out there. Sorry folks. Yes, you will need a ruler for measuring. So now that we have all of that together, let's get going to our creative space and begin our project. Begin holding your canvas on the horizontal. Then measure the width of your canvas. Divide that in half and then divide it again in half. And that's how you will get your 4 equal size. It doesn't matter the width of your canvas. You could be 10 inches wide or 14 inches wide. The same rules will apply. Measure the width, divide it in half, and divide the halves into halves, and you will have 4 equal spaces. Once you have divided your canvas into 4 equal spaces, you will take your masking tape and you will put a strip of tape on the outside of the right panel from top to bottom. Then you will take your color and apply a generous amount of yellow at the top, a little drip in the middle, just a teardrop of green, and lots of green at the bottom. Now that you have done your color, take your medium-sized brush and go back and forth on that yellow paint. Now with your yellow and green, just blend those two colors together and you will get your light green. And for the dark green, do that as a separate blending. With your medium-sized brush, you will go back and forth over those colors to remove any excess paint you have and continue the blending. Don't forget to remove excess paint or add paint where you need. For the yellow and where it meets the yellow-green, I have blended them with more yellow so I don't have a harsh borderline. And then I removed the tape and let it dry a little bit before you put the next piece of tape for your next panel, which is summer. You will put the tape on the right side of the panel and one on the further right side. And for colors, we will start with white at the very top, a little teardrop of blue and white to make our light blue. And we're going to go back and forth, blend those colors, remove any excess paint that we have, and when we get to the dark blue, we will do that again, separate back and forth. And again, don't forget to remove any excess paint, go over it very, very lightly, and you can blend in your paint. And once you have finished doing that, you're going to let it dry a little bit because acrylics dry very fast. And you will remove the tape and you're ready for your next season, which is autumn. With our masking tape, we're going to mask the next panel, which happens to be autumn. So we're going to put masking tape the length of our canvas, top to bottom, so we can enclose the next panel. With your yellow, you're going to dab a generous amount on the top, a medium-sized amount in the middle, and add a little bit of your orange red, and at the bottom use your orange red or your orange and start blending that paint. Go back and forth sideways, blend in your color, and when you get down to the orange, start at the bottom and work your way up. And now to blend the three colors together, you can use a little bit of yellow very lightly over the borders so you can blend them in and remove any borderline that you may have created. And don't forget to smooth out any excess paint that you have. Once you have done that, let it dry for a little bit and remove the tape. And you're on to your next season, which is winter. After you have applied your masking tape, we're going to take our white paint And at the very top, give a generous amount, middle, a little bit, a smaller amount, and a teardrop of purple. And at the bottom, we're just going to put our purple all by itself. Then you begin to blend those colors. And notice how with a little bit of purple you put in there, now you're going to create a very light purple, almost like lilac. When you get to the bottom part of your purple by itself, start at the bottom and work your way up. And again, don't forget to remove any excess paint you have on your canvas. Once you are done, remove your masking tape and take your black paint with your thin brush and begin to do your tree. And I've done my tree at the center. And you're going to make those branches as wide as possible and just very smoothly make your branches. Make sure they reach from side to side and top to the bottom. Let your brush slide, just very gentle on the wrist, and let it slide. And remember, branches are in all shapes and sizes and in all directions. So keep that in mind when you're doing yours. And do cover your canvas because the branches will be reaching out to every season. So every season should have some branches. Excuse me. When you have finished doing your tree, take your brush and dip it in some more black paint, but don't saturate your brush. And at the very edge, the bottom edge, flip your paint up very gently and fast so you can create the grass from your left to your right. There you go, there's your grass. And now with your green paint and your medium-sized brush, we're going to begin doing the leaves in our spring section. Now remember, in spring, the leaves are just beginning to come out, and sometimes you have blossoms, and that's how we're going to do spring. We're going to dab our green here and there to make it look like leaves are coming out, and a few little flowers. And for the flowers, we're going to take our red, take a little drip of that orange, red or orange, mix it with the white, and you will create a very light pink. And with the corner of your brush, you're just going to dab here and there to make it look like blossoms. And then again, go back to your green, and we're going to go to the summer. Now summer will be that trees have more leaves, so we're going to dab more green on our leaves to make it look like summer. And we just dab around over some of the branches. It's not a problem to do that, and just make it as full as possible so it looks more like summer. And when you're happy with that, you go on to your next season, which is autumn, and you're going to take your orange red, put it on your palette, and with your brush you take a little bit, don't saturate your paint, and vertically holding the brush, you're going to dab over it to indicate leaves. and that will be your autumn season. And do it around in that section. And when you're finished with your section of autumn, you're on to your final season, which is winter. And for our final season, which is winter, we're going to use our white paint and our medium-sized brush. You can either dip in very, very gently the whole brush, and you can hold it vertically over your canvas, or you can use the very corner of your brush to dab in the snow. And now that we have completed our paint, we have done all 4 seasons.
Hey there, it's Gabby. Today I'm going to show you how to do these aluminum foil sculptures. They're pretty cute and super easy to make. All you need is some aluminum foil, a Sharpie, and if you have clay, you're welcome to use that at the end. Also, you'll need scissors. Forgot to put that in there, but scissors are important as well. First thing we're going to do is take your aluminum foil and go ahead and cut out a big rectangle, a nice big sheet, so we have something to work with. So I have my rectangle. Next thing I'm going to do is pick up my Sharpie and I'm going to label the different sections of my person. So first thing I'm going to do is do a line coming in on either side. This is right in the middle of my rectangle, and I'm going to leave a space in the middle for the torso. Then I'm going to do a line down at the bottom, and each side is going to end up being a leg. For the head, I'm going to do 2 lines slanting inward. Those are each going to be arms on the outside, and then that middle one is going to be the head. Then I'm going to grab my scissors and go ahead and cut right along those Sharpie lines that I made. I noticed my guy's arms were a little long, so I just took scissors and gave them a little trim. Also, the legs were like 2 different sizes, so I just went ahead and trimmed that up too, so they were the same size. You can play around with the shape of your little person by using some aluminum foil scraps. For example, I think my guy should be a little less skinny, so I'm just wrapping around this piece of aluminum foil around his waist just to give him a little more width in the middle. But you can do that. You can add shoulders, you can make his arms bigger or his neck bigger. You can kind of play around with the shape of your person as much as you'd like. If you have air dry clay or polymer clay handy, you can cover your person to make it look more like a figurine, like this. And that's our video. Feel free to have fun. You can change up your little people, make them different shapes and sizes, different poses. Just have fun, and I'll see you guys next time.
girls, this is Pia from West Sanford, and today we're going to make a Christmas card. And this Christmas card will be maybe a Christmas card for someone very special, like Grandma, and grandmas love things that you make. And this is the inside. I've done some very fancy cursive writing. So if you feel comfortable doing cursive, go ahead and try that, or you can try your block letters. And for this project, we are going to need a cutting board. A cutting board will be important because we're going to be using a mat knife. And one thing about a mat knife is make sure you have a safety cap when you're not using it, and that you have a sharp blade. It's the dull blades that cut you. And when you're doing a cut, make sure you don't go very, very hard on the first one. Just try it a few times. Don't try to cut on the first slice. Just keep slicing until you get it all done. Okay? And that's why you need a cutting board, so you can have something underneath and you won't be cutting your furniture and you won't be making the naughty list this year. We will also need a glue stick, a Sharpie. I have a pencil. This is a mechanical pencil, but any pencil will do. Make sure you have an eraser. So you have a little eraser there. Got an eraser, scissors, masking tape, some kind of lid that you've taken off anything, just a nice about 2-inch in diameter lid. You're going to need some clear glue, confetti, and you will need also glitter paper. Okay, you're going to need 4 sheets of any color that you like. Okay, and if you don't have glitter paper, you can try construction paper or gift wrapping paper. Okay, and now for this part, you're going to need cardstock paper, 1 in red and 1 in green. And that's what we're going to need for today. Why don't we get started with our project and get to our creative space? You're going to take your white A4 size paper, fold it in half, have the edge on the left side, and with your pencil and ruler, you're going to draw 1/2 of your tree. Your tree should be no bigger than 5 inches tall and no wider than 1.5 inches. Remember, you're doing it on the fold, so when you cut it, the widest point is going to be about 3 inches. Now take that tree that you just cut, and with your pencil, you're going to put it on the outside of your card and place your Ziploc bag over. Just see the space you have. Make sure you find a good center for that tree, that you have enough space around it. And with your ruler and pencil, begin to draw it in very lightly. Just draw light guides, because you will be erasing them later. Just draw yourself the guidelines. Take your mat knife and your ruler and begin to cut your tree out. Now keep in mind, you're not going to cut right through on the first slice. Do not do that. That's how you can hurt yourself. Do it several times. Go over that slice several times till you go right through the paper. do it all around. Move your paper if that makes it easier for you. And remember, not cutting on the first slice. Do it several times. And you will get a nice clean cut with your ruler. With your eraser, erase any guidelines you may have showing. Go over everyone very lightly with your eraser. Just erase all those. Turn your paper so the tree is on the left side of you, and take your Ziploc bag, and with your clear glue you're going to pour about 4 or 5, equivalent of 4 or 5 tablespoons of glue. Tablespoons are the bigger spoons that you may use for your soup. Teaspoons are the ones you use to stir your coffee or your hot chocolate. So that's the difference. The bigger one is the one we need. Once you have enough glue in there, take your confetti and grab a pinch, a nice size pinch of your confetti, and pour it into your bag. Seal that bag very tightly and begin to mix your glue and confetti, and make sure it's going towards the center of your bag. Now take your card and make sure the tree is to the left side of you, and you're going to place that bag over that tree opening. Make sure you have cleared the top and bottom, that you have enough space to put your masking tape, and the masking tape is not going to show through. Once again, try to get all your confetti towards the center of the tree. Now take your masking tape and begin to tape that bag to the card. When you do that, make sure you are not showing through the opening where the tree is the opening, and push all glue towards the center so you do not put masking tape over any glue. Do all 4 sides. And again, make sure none of the masking tape is showing. When you have finished taping it, turn it around and make sure there is no tape showing, and push your confetti towards the center and the glue towards the center of the tree. Now you're going to take your green paper, and with your glue stick you're going to apply glue to the back of it. Put plenty of glue on the back of the paper and align them together, have them join, and make sure you give them enough time to bond. And if there is not enough glue, put more glue. Now that you have put the green paper in the back, fold your sheets together and with your ruler go over that fold. That helps your crease. And if you need to put more glue, please add more glue. As you can see on the right side of your card, you have a little bit of green showing. I want you to take your scissors and cut that little piece off. If you're not sure of yourself, just follow the red trim and you will cut a perfectly strip out. Take your glitter paper and at the corner cut out a rectangle, and with your lid trace a circle around the back of the paper, and with your scissors cut all 4 circles. Please note that each of the squares that you have there are of your different color paper. You only see the white part of it. Now place your 4 circles at the top part of your card, inside the card, and with your A4 white paper and your glue stick, you're going to glue each color towards the top half of your card. You're not going to make them all at the same level. Make sure some are higher and lower than the others. And that will give you a sense of motion, a sense of hanging, as you will see as we go on. Now we're ready for our ruler and Sharpie, and at the center top of your circle you're going to draw a straight line from that top of the circle all the way to the edge, the top edge of your card. Do it for every circle. Remember, the top center of your circle to the edge of the top of your paper. Now we will take our Sharpie and we're going to draw a little bow right above the center top of your circle. You should go up about ½ an inch up before you draw 2 ovals on each side of your vertical black line and 2 little curly cues on each side, and that will make your bow. And do it 4 times. Take your pencil and lightly write in your message. You can write it in block letters or bubble letters, or as I'm doing here in my fancy cursive writing. Write your message. It could be Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Feliz Navidad, whatever you like. That's the area you write your message. With your Sharpie, go over your message and erase any showing of your pencil marks that you may have. And there we have it, one beautiful Christmas card for that special person. You can make as many as you like now that you know how to make one. And have a very, very Merry Christmas and Feliz Navidad to all.
Hey, it's Gabby. Today we're going to learn how to make these cute Christmas cards. All I'm going to be showing you how to do is how to draw the ornament and the little Rudolph, and then you can decorate the rest on your own. So first thing you want to do is to take a piece of paper, fold it in half, and then I want you to go around your house and try to find something with like a nice rounded edge. I ended up using this big vase that I have laying around, so something like that will work, or like a big cup or a bowl would actually be perfect. You just want to make sure that it fits onto that folded piece of paper. So I used my pencil to go ahead and trace my object so I have a nice perfect circle there at the bottom of my page. I'm going to go ahead and add the snowy ground into my circle by just doing like a loose squiggly line across the bottom of my circle. So around 2 fingers up from the snowy ground, I'm going to go ahead and put a little line where my nose is going to go. From there, we're going to do Rudolph's head. So you can see we have this bendy line, kind of like a frowny face or a half circle. And that's about a finger's width up from that line. So from there, I'm going to do like a smiley face. This should not be as bendy as the top line. So it's kind of like a wonky football shaped typed head. You can see here I just kind of smoothed out the edges so that the side of the face isn't too sharp. Now it's time to move on to arms. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little arm shape pointing inward, coming down from the head and touching the snow. I am making my arms a little bottom heavy, so they're a little wider down at the bottom and they get like a teeny tiny bit skinnier up near the head. For Rudolph's collar, I did a circle right below the head and then just 2 lines for the collar. For the legs, I went ahead and did those same kind of slightly bottom heavy shapes I did for the arms, but this time they're sticking out of either side of Rudolph, so he's sitting kind of funny, but it's cute. Went ahead and put a line right in the middle in between the 2 arms for the bottom of our Rudolph's body. You want to make sure this line lines up with where the legs are. Next we're going to give Rudolph some hooves, so I'm just going to do little rectangles coming off of each arm and each leg. We're going to move up to Rudolph's face, starting with his little nose. So this shape is kind of like a triangle with some rounded edges. From here I added the muzzle in, which is that beige part, and I just did 2 little lines going down on either side. From there we gotta add the eyes. Our Rudolph's eyes are pretty far apart and his eyes are closed like he's relaxing. So I just did 2 little curved lines on either side of the face. I'm going to throw in some little leaf-shaped ears up at the top of the head. Now for the antlers, these are going to hang out inside the space where the ears are. So first thing I'm going to do is 2 lines sort of slanting out. And then from there, I'm just adding like almost a V sitting on that line. So to add a little width to these antlers, I'm going to go ahead and go around that little outline that I made, and then I'm going to end up erasing that pencil line in the middle. At the top of the circle, I'm going to add that little ornament thing. So I'm going to do like a little curved line up at the top for the bottom, and then 2 straight lines on either side, and then a super skinny oval just sitting right on top. So from there, if you want to add that little detail to that thing, you can just add some little curved lines and then erase that straight line underneath. Now we just need our string, which is just going to go right up off the page. I like to go over my pencil drawings with some black pen and a black marker, so you can do that as well if you want to. All I'm doing here is with my black pen, I'm going right over those pencil lines along the Rudolph. And then when I get to the ornament, I'm going to jump on over to that black marker, and I'm just going to go around the outside of the ornament and around that little thing at the top of the ornament. When I get to the string, I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of doing a straight line, I'm just going to make a bunch of little dots. Feel free to make this however you want. You can use colored pencils or markers, or you can just leave it with pen, but you can be creative and decorate it however you would like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.